please forgive me if I mispronounced your name. Introduce yourself for the record, please, and tell us who you represent.
You did fine. Thank you very much. My name is Glenn Gallus, and I am a member of the Garland County Tea Party. I'm also represent an organization called Citizens for the American Agenda. And before I read my prepared notes, I'd like to make a couple benchmark statements. Number one, I believe this issue right now, as it currently says, as you appropriately said, it's not about the health care bill. It's whether or not we want to see our state allow mandatory purchase of insurance and fines if we do not. That's what this issue, HB 1053, essentially is about. It's not about whether or not health care is important or health care is needed. I don't think there's anybody in this table nor in this room that believes that health care is not an important and major issue today. The second thing is that we are now making this decision, and the arguments that I hear are based on whether or not we go to court. Folks, it ought to never be the fear of somebody suing us whether or not we're going to make the right decision or not. That should never be come into consideration. We should base our decisions on what is right or what is wrong. Too often we get lost in making the decision what is right and what is right. This issue is clearly about what is right and what is wrong, and that's what I want to address today. So if you don't mind, I'll just kind of read my prepared statement and we'll go from there. First, again, I want to thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for serving, for taking up this mantle and understanding that we understand that every day you have to make tough decisions. I've heard and read the arguments from both sides of this, and the bulk of those against say that it would be best to wait on the states and best to wait on the courts to decide whether or not we make this decision. The 1,000-pound elephant in this room is if we wait, it is a foregone conclusion, or at least the pundits say it's going to be 2 years before it reaches the Supreme Court. If this measure allows to go forward and be placed on the burden of the state of Arkansas and its citizens, we're not going to get a decision for 2 years from now. Are you willing to tell everybody that we made mandatory health care insurance and everybody mandatory to pay for it, that no harm, no foul, we're going to go back to square one? We know that that's not possible, and we know that that won't happen. So today is the day where you really have to make the decision, should we allow this to happen to the state of Arkansas? I'll make 2 points for you to consider. And the first is, would it be good for the citizens of Arkansas? While affordable health care is a noble goal, mandatory health care is a violation of the 9th Amendment. The 9th Amendment is about the rights retained by the people. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. That means we, the people, have the right to decide what we can and cannot do and what we should and should not do based on the laws of this land. The second point is that I have to say is that the second, which is more important than the first, is that the power is not delegated to the United States, which is the 10th Amendment, by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So while our federal government has handed down this mandate, it is your duty, yea, I say your responsibility, to say, is this good for the state of Arkansas? Is this good for the citizens of Arkansas? This is not about whether or not the federal government is right. This is not about whether or not health care is an important issue. This is an issue that is based on what is important, or what is right and what is wrong. James Madison wrote in the Federalist Papers, the powers delegated by the proposed Constitution to the federal government are few and defined. That means the powers of our government are few and defined. It says, but those which remain to the states' governments are numerous and indefinite. And so the power, or the authority, and the responsibility of this decision is ours. And we need to stop relying on the federal government to have a big picture idea of this issue. The people in California live a vastly different life than the citizens of Arkansas. The people in New York live a vastly different life than the people in Arkansas. The people of Arkansas are hardworking, dedicated people who work very, very hard for their money. And they ought to be given the right to spend their money as they choose. And we should never listen to special interests, the hospitals, the healthcare industry, the insurance industry. Well, everyone talks about it's not about the money. The people who are talking for it, represent the people who are in the business of healthcare insurance, in the business of healthcare provision. And so we've got to make a real decision here, and I would just ask you to make the right one, to think about 1053 and its passage. I believe we have an opportunity here to continue the process of restoring America back to its foundational principles and constitutional roots. You have the opportunity to make that statement right here in this committee. And I would urge you, I would beg you to vote yes for HB 1053. Thank you very much.